Greeting to all the students. Welcome to Global Online University. Here we are back with our Gujarat set preparation for paper 1, and in this video we are going to see in detail the topic of communication. So we are going to see in detail the communication unit theory, which will be completing the whole syllabus. And definitely after watching this video, it will help you to easily crack your this unit for your Gujarat set preparation for paper 1. We at Global Online University has brought a Gujarat set preparation, a full unit for you in the form of certain features. Now it consists for paper 1 specially, which will be consisting of 50 full syllabus mock test. Now these mock tests, what will be the speciality of this mock test? This mock test will be not only in the form of questions, but we will also provide you a PDF solution with answer. So in case if you're not able to solve some questions, you will have an answers for that in order to check your preparation rate. Plus we also have 2500 plus MCQs covering all the syllabus and all the units, which will again give you a good hands-on practice for your paper 1 preparation. Apart from this, we have 100 plus video lectures for consisting of all the units. Every concept which has been very properly touched in this video lectures. And we also have notes on all the units. So like what exact preparation material which you are looking for, it will be consisting of in one full in one full go. You will be getting not only the video lectures, not only the notes, but also the MCQs, and then the full syllabus mock test. So it goes step by step, which will help you to prepare your paper 1 very well. Now, for all this, the offer price which is set is 999. And if you want to get more information, you can please get in touch with the given WhatsApp number, which is reflecting on the screen. Apart from this, paper 2 notes are also available with us. So you can get in touch with the WhatsApp number in order to understand which paper 2 you have, and can check out the notes with the concern given WhatsApp number. Plus, we also have the Google Global Online University app, which is available on Google Play Store. What you can do is you can download this app. You can attempt for free tests which are set for the students. There are certain free previous year question papers just to give you an idea about the features, notes as well as videos. So you can download the app and you can check it out. And in case if you have still any difficulty or if you still have any queries, you can get in touch with the given WhatsApp number so that we can further assist you or clarify your doubts. Understanding about the syllabus. So communication, basically meaning, types and characteristics, where you have one question from this effective communication, where they will put examples with the help of non-verbal, verbal communication, intercultural communication or classroom communication. This classroom communication, most of the time they add it with teaching aptitude, and based on that they give you a common question, so you should be able to understand barriers of effective communication, mass media and society. So the syllabus is a bit small for this unit, but you need to be very careful because 5 questions are there, so the questions can be very interior part of the theory, so you have to be completely prepared for this unit. So now let's start. Now there is a very common question comes on what? On your communication cycle, where it starts with sender and it ends with receiver, including encoding of the message, that is in the form of the context of the message, the channel use, the decoding, then the receiver, and then the feedback. So when we say the one who sends the message, that is an encoder, sorry, the one who sends the message is the sender, in the form of encoding. It means it is the understanding and perception of the sender, where he encodes the message with the help of the channel or the context of the message. Okay, reaches the receiver has to understand the message, and for the same he has to decode the message. It means he has to understand the perception of the or the importance or the idea of the message in his own way. And after understanding, the process does not get complete here unless and until the feedback is given to the receiver. So the communication cycle ends only with the feedback. So every year there are questions seen on, whether sender, receiver, the completion in the form of feedback, context, channel, message, or some many times a sequence is given just to confuse you. They can just put some a different element, but you know that this is a sequence and these are the elements, okay, which consist in the communication cycle. Okay, so now noise is the one which distracts, which can definitely have an impact on the message to be conveyed. So you have to just understand the question, read the question very carefully, and ensure that you are answering the question as per the given context of the question. So you don't have to put everything, don't have to pressurize your mind. This simple thing is in net examination, very, very important point is that you just read the question carefully, and this for 6 days. Okay, please have a reading, question reading on the screen only, so it gives, the eyes get that habit of screening the question and then completely producing the answer. Now, yes, 7 principles of communication. So there can be a question on this. So which are those 7 principles? That is the 7 C's of principles of communication is completeness. All the required facts should be there in the message. Concrete, it means it has to be specific, definite, vivid rather than vague. It means it should not have any confusion or unclarity. Courtesy, it means a commitment and affection in the communication. Correctness, it means appropriately addressing the needs of the audiences. Clarity, it means the message should be very clear. There should be no confusion. There should be no dual meaning out of it. It has to be very specific. Consideration, it means it has to consider the receiver's interest. And concise, it means it should be communicated using least possible words. You can rather say as precise. Okay, apart from 4 C's, you also have 7 C's, you also have 4 S of effective communication. Now what are they? That is, shortness is nothing but concise and precise message. Okay, it's precise and concise. Strength, it means the message should have an importance, what exactly needs to be conveyed. Sincerity, it means it should be sincere. It should be communicated with the dedicated time or as per the schedule. And simplicity means the use of language which is easy to understand. Now, next topic is the important skills in communication, the basic important skills in communication. So when we talk about the basic important skills in communication, now what are these communications about? So this communication skills are basically listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So when we talk about listening as the skills, okay, it is one of the skill which facilitate other skills. It makes meaning out of the spoken language. It receives sounds of language and interprets the message. We many times we say that in order to become an effective communicator, you have to be an effective listener. So listening is one of the important out of rest of the skill. All the skills are important, but it is one of the basic skills which has to be, which is required in order to facilitate other skills. Speaking, awareness of grammatical language, grammar, language, cultural feature, what, when, how to speak with correct pronunciation. Very, very important. In formal communication, this all plays a very important role. So you should know when it comes to speaking, it doesn't mean that you have to just go on, go on, go on. You should be aware of the grammar. You should be aware of the language. You should be aware that when, what, and how you need to speak with a correct pronunciation. Reading, so it is basically a gateway of knowledge. It helps you to enhance your knowledge. It helps you to look at the printed symbols, translating them into the appropriate sounds components. So yes, unless and until you do not make your reading strong, so reading and listening, I mean, every component is correlated, every skill is correlated. So yes, but definitely every skill has its own speciality. So reading helps you to gain, or it gives you a n number of knowledge. Writing, it helps you to develop your linguistic ability in order to present your language, including the word selection, that is the vocabulary, the grammar, and the content. Now, Next topic is types of communication. Now here in this particular topic, just last 2 3 years, the questions are coming in different varieties. So it is not basically that they're just going to ask you what are the types of communication. I'll just tell you how the types of communications can be in the form of question. So basically verbal communication, which is face to face, over the telephone, over the Skype, the video conferencing, you can tell. Chatting with friends and families is a part of your verbal communication. When we talk about non-verbal communication, so non-verbal communication is eye contact, body language, gestures, facial expressions, your voice of tone, your posture, your gestures is the one which gets included as in what? As the non-verbal communication. When we talk about written communication, it is in the form of email, or it is in the form of I mean to say, report, bulletins, letters, manual telegrams, written communication. Okay, so all those are a part of what? Written communication. Now, when we talk about listening, yes, active listening is the key. As I said just now, we have studied the one of the skill. So active listening is nothing but a key to the rest of the skills. Okay, so yes, it is one of the important skills, and it facilitates the rest of the skill. Visual communication, the image, infographics, video, visual presentation. So this is also the part of what? This is also the part of a part of your visual communication. So verbal communication consists 35%. The weightage, if you talk about, verbal communication has 35% of the weightage, whereas non-verbal communication consists as 65% of the weightage. So you can go with this Albert Merbin's rule, that is 73855. This can also be a part of your match the following or a question. So 77% of spoken words, 38% of voice and tone, but 55% of impact is with the help of body language. So which is that highest, type of communication which can create an impact as your non-verbal communication? Then yes, so verbal communication, again a quick different topics, that is your voice, your quality, tone, volume, pitch, your speed, rate of delivery, pronunciation, these all are the important components of verbal communication. When it comes to non-verbal communication, we have studied. Now apart from that, non-verbal communication has a basic different terminology, and the questions were seen on this terminology. So like body gestures or postures are called as kinesis, eye contact or your blink rate is called as oculus, touch elements are called as haptis, the personal space is called as proximes, the paralanguage and voice is called as vocalis, time element will be called as chromics, physical environment and personal appearance. Now these words, many times they have given you, they like, for example, what is this time element, or the personal space element or the time element called as, or maybe you may get it in the form of match the following. So these things were seen very frequently in this 2 3 years papers. So you should be able to understand them very very carefully. You can just pause the video for a minute and just try it, to recall it without seeing on the screen, but it should be very clear. This should be in one of your handy notes when you are, last moment of vision when you are doing during the time of examination. So same thing, I have once again repeated. Chromics is time, proximes is space, oculus is eye contact, olfactus is smell, haptus is touch, kinesis is body language, chromatics is color, silence and vocalist is voice. So you have to just be careful because these things are seen bit frequently in the question papers. Coming to next is levels of communication, where is again there is a definite question. Students many times get confused. Why? Because this type of questions are sometimes seen in the form of examples. So you have to be very careful in order to read the examples and answer it in a careful way. Intrapersonal communication, inter, group, public, mass. So intra it means which happens between within the person himself, with oneself. Okay, so either to to take a decision, to introspect, to analyze the situation, to make oneself comfortable, to motivate. Now, like for example, sometimes you must have observed this when you're alone, a lot of thought process goes on. So you're talking to your own self. So that is called as what interpersonal communication. It doesn't mean that you have to open your mouth and speak. The thought process which goes on in your mind is also a part of your interpersonal communication because your mind speaks and you're listening. Okay, you're speaking as well as listening, but it is the only you who's doing this process. So it is called as intrapersonal. The next is interpersonal communication, which happens between two people, which can be planned and unplanned. It depends upon the understanding between the parties. Now here you have certain types. There was one question seen in one of the examination. So I've just added this point, that is expert power, referent power, information power, legitimate power. Sorry, this is repeated: information power and coercive power. Now let's see what these powers are. So when I say legitimate power, it means what is your role? What role do you play? When I say reward power, it means what type of reward people get. Coercive power, it means a type of punishment which the people get. Resource power, it means the resources which the people are in need of. Referent power, it means the people are associated with you in the form of, like, you can say, association, a link. Expert power, which what you can teach, what you can do and teach others. Information, it means a source, what you know. And connection power, it means who do you know. So this is like a network. So this can come as a part of interpersonal communication, because there was a question on this topic, so I thought I'll just add this in the lecture. Now, group communication, that happens between more than two members. It can be formal and informal, which is used to discuss, or there can be an outcome out of it. Public communication, which happens at a mass level. Okay, again, which can be a formal and informal. And mass communication, it is the huge form of communication where you address a large number of audience, and there is no personal connect, with the help of internet, radio, magazines, newspaper, pamphlets, brochures, or television. Now, there were certain doubts, which the students normally face. So I've just listed some points with respect to some part of communication. So when I say about group communication, it is a mode of communication in an organization which is between employers and employees. It can be further looked, from the point of marketing perspective, in order to target a particular group of customers or the people, or to um, make the product rich. When I say organizational communication, it means to send the messages, or to receive the messages with an intention of common goal, which happens in an organization, the way I said for marketing. So it is highly contextual. It is culturally dependent. It can be face-to-face, written, mediated channel. So organizational communication, please keep in mind that it's a part of the group communication is a part of organizational communication, which happens with an objective in an organization. Same time, corporate communication is, it's a management function or a department function, like a marketing, finance, HR, which again disseminates the information. It helps to develop the strategy development of, the organization within specific purpose. So group communication or corporate communication, they are having specific role with respect to organization objective. So just you have to read it very carefully when the question has been asked. Next. Now, yes, there was the mass the following ones with this levels. So there are basically 4 levels, and what these levels are called as, let's quickly revise. So level A, B, C, D. So A is basically semantic noise, due to which the message can be distorted. It means there can be an unclarity about the message. Level B is the source noise, which can result into, lip sync, stammering. Level C, these are the barriers, you can say. Okay, level C is the channel noise, which can be due to poor quality of cable network or broadcast media. And level D is psychological noise, which can be in the form of preconceived notions communicators bring to I mean to say, to the conservation. So what you already think about, or you must have thought about. So this preconceived notions, can be a part of barrier. So A is semantic noise. Now they may give you them as the following. So on one set you have level A, level B, level C, level D. On another set you may have what they are related to. So you should be very clear. Level A is semantic, level B is source, level C is channel, and level D is psychological noise. Now, coming to one term, that is connotation and denotation. What does it refers to? Now, when I say connotation, it refers to the personal and cultural meaning in addition to the dictionary meaning. So dictionary meaning is nothing but it is called as what? It is called as a denotion. Okay. Denotation. So denotation is nothing but the primary or the dictionary meaning. Connotation refers to your meaning apart from the primary, and as well as what? As well as the dictionary meaning. So connotation can be positive or negative, the way you take it. Denotation is not just classified, it's a meaning, it's a clear definition. Now, when we talk about connotation, it can change according to the culture and experiences, whereas denotation, it remains the same regardless of culture and experiences. Now, there are some examples which I have taken, like for example, word monkey. So if I talk about in the connotative term, so stop monkeying around, it means it refers to messing up. But denotative is it's a monkey, which is the basic meanings, okay, the basic or primary meaning. If I take the word blue, so connotative, if I'm feeling very blue today, so it means a feeling, a sad, means a cultural or a personal meaning. But if I use the word blue as a denotative, it talks about what? It talks about the color. Okay, now there are certain terms which can be, a part of a direct question. So let's see those terms. Empathy is nothing but the ability to understand and share feelings. Now, this question can be in the form of your teaching aptitude. They can, how the teacher should communicate with the students, in what form. So it should be in empathetic way, because teacher should understand as well as able to create a bond and feeling with the sharing a bond, and, a comfort bond with the students, so that the students speak up. Sympathy, it means pity, which the teacher should never go for. Apathy is nothing but lack of interest or enthusiasm, or concern. And antipathy, it means a deep-seated feeling of aversion, like dislike. So teacher never goes for any of them except empathy. Teacher need to have an empathetic communication with the students in the classroom. Then there is a term called as discourse. Now, discourse refers to the language that teachers and students use to communicate in the class. Talking or conversation is a medium through which most teaching takes place. So, the study of classroom discourse is the study of the progress of face-to-face classroom teaching. So what exactly happens, so what discussion or conservation, so that is nothing but it is called as what? A discourse. That is a language which is used by the teachers and students in order to communicate in the class, which has to be productive. Paralanguage. Now, see, there are no this terms which I'm taking with individual slides. They are not there. They were not there in your syllabus, but oftenly the questions were seen on this. So I've just added in the theory so that you remember or you recall it. So when I talk about paralanguage, it is nothing but study of non-verbal cues of the voice, various properties such as the tone, the pitch, the accent, the pattern, that is, the rhythm. It's called as prosody. It's a collective form of nonverbal cues, and paralanguage definitely may change the meaning of the words if it is not clearly understood or interpreted. Yes. Now, again, in types of communication, earlier we studied interpersonal, intrapersonal, group, public, okay, mass communication. But apart from this, since 2019, there is a question, on horizontal, vertical, and diagonal communication with the help of examples. Like, for example, in horizontal communication, teachers of one department and teachers of other department. So the same, they are the teachers. So they are, on the parallel same line. So they are called, it is, when they communicate, it will be called as horizontal. If the boss communicate with the team members, or if the team members communicate with the boss, that will be a part of what? That will be a part of your vertical communication, that is upwards to upwards or downwards. Diagonal communication. Now, if I'm talking about one department to another department, okay, or from one branch to another branch. It can be any position. This is the position will be same, it will be horizontal, but irrespective of the position or whatever it is, so it will be called as what? The diagonal communication. So these type of questions are seen only with the help of examples. So you should first understand the example and then attempt the question. Yes. Now there is a concept called a zone of proximal development. Now, what is this? Which was brought up by Levi Vygotsky. This is the student. Okay, this is the part. I mean to say the student who is already aware or already knows. Okay, or some part or some content, some area which has been shaded. Some part is not known by the students. Okay, so what can be known with the assistance of the teacher will be called as what? The zone of proximal development. So it is a key construct theory of learning, which defines the space between what a learner can do without the assistance and what a learner can do with the guidance or in collaboration with capable peers. So like for example, not only with teachers but also with the peers, that is the classmates. So that zone is nothing but it is called as zone of proximal development. That is, it's a process of learning. Now yes, you have a very a different sorry, you have a specific topic that is called as barriers. So we have done some part, but the remaining part we'll just quickly see to it. So physical, that is environmental barriers, which can be caused by time, space, place, space, climate, noise, choice of medium. We have to study the terms also. Okay. Barriers which can be caused by wrong choice of medium, where the medium is selected wrong. Like for example, take an example that if I am communicating with you in some other language, okay, the medium language is one of the medium, but if I select a wrong language in order to communicate with you people, so definitely that this can obstruct the uh, message understanding of message, and it can become a barrier. Semantic barrier, which are caused by connotative words, we have just done the meaning of connotative words. Cultural barriers, which are caused by the diversity of culture. Attitudinal barriers, which are caused by the moods, attitudes, and relationship. And barriers which can which can vary by perception, that is level of understanding and comprehension. So again, in barriers of communication, there are different types of questions you get. Sometimes they can give you direct questions, sometimes they definitely want you to go for such questions which which should identify the types of barriers. Okay, now apart from this, there are some psychological and emotional barriers also, like premature evaluation, distrust, emotions, poor attention, loss by transmission. So the possible outcome of the message before it is transmitted, I mean to say premature evaluation, premature. So before it is transmitted, you try to evaluate it. Distrust, no, I mean to say the trust factor, the emotion, the retention, or loss by transmission. This also can, if you come across this, okay, and because of which the message is distorted, such type of barriers are called as what? Emotional barriers. Okay, now coming to one of the important part, that is synchronous and asynchronous mode. Synchronous is the one which happens same time, that is live. Okay, which can be in the form of chats, videos, polls, which we take the insights. Asynchronous, it is self paced, it does not happen at the same time. Okay, you need to maybe you're seeing the recorded lectures in the form of filling up a worksheet. So yes, this is also, there are many questions seen nowadays based on this topic, that is synchronous and asynchronous. Some initially they were giving some direct questions, nowadays they've again started with examples, so you should be aware of this. Okay, now these are the important terms which are seen in some, which were seen in some papers. That is, surveillance is nothing but monitoring, processing, retaining the information. That is one of the important feature of mass communication, that is to surveillance. Surveillance, it means to keep a watch. And semiotics, it is nothing but a branch of language which studies the signs. in order to, interpret them. So it is study of how meanings are assigned to the signs, that is sign language. It deals with both the connotative as well as denotative words. Okay. Now, yes, with reference to communication, there are important topics like VAST channel, which is of a consortium of educational communication. That is the one which looks after the undergraduate courses, which we have done this. Okay, under the University of Grant Commission, and Gyan Darshan of Doordarshan are some of the efforts. Gyan Vani is one of the educational radio channel of IGNOU. Okay, so Gyan Dhara, it is their counseling session. So in one of the lecture we have done about Gyan Dhara also. So Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani as well as Gyan Dhara. Now, this vast higher education channel is dedicated for the students who study in their degree courses in universities and colleges. It is telecasted by Consortium of Education UGC on Swayam Prabha, that is direct to home channels, through DD Free Dish, that is was launched on 26th of Jan 2004. Gyan Vani, as I said, it's an FM channel which is stationed in several cities of India, which was launched in the year 2000, along with Gyan Dhara, that is an counseling session, okay, interactive counseling session. Now, Eklavya Technology Channel, which is again a distant learning joint initiative between IIT and IGNOU, which was inaugurated in 26th of Jan 2003. The objective of this initiative is to bring the audiences to the actual IIT classrooms virtually at their doorstep. So this was one of the technological channel, which was a great initiative by IITs and IGNOU. Now, apart from this, there are certain initiatives of some of the major educational television projects. So we will just quickly have a look at this. Okay, as I said that the topic is a bit small, but the content, you are expected to get the content from any point. So you should be very, very careful that what you're reading and what you are answering. Okay, now you have done today, I mean to say, this is a morning time, you have watched the video. So it is important that you can see a Maha Marathon, or the crash course MCQs through of the same topic. So it becomes little bit, the confidence gets boosted up, and you can definitely do well. So let's see what is the first project. That is the secondary school television project, which was started in the year 1961. So the project was basically designed for the secondary school students of Delhi with an aim of, improving the standard of teaching with respect to the shortage of laboratories. So the space equipment and the debt of qualified teachers in Delhi, this project with the space equipment and the death of qualified teacher, this project of Delhi was actually started on experimental basis in the year 1961. Hindi English was, for teaching basically chemistry, physics, chemistry, English, Hindi for the class students of 11th. The lectures were syllabus based and were telecasted in school hours as a part and parcel of the school activity. So the television, according to one of the great person, that is Mr. Paul, television schools did somewhat better in the test and then the non-television school. So this was one of the initiative, but it really worked out well. And this project was basically in order to give such type of knowledge to the school students. The next project was Delhi Agriculture Television, that is DATV project, and Krishi Darshan, which started in the year 1966. It was initiated on 26th of Jan 1966 for communicating agricultural information to the farmers, which was again on experimental basis as per the 80 selected villages and the Union Territory. And basically it was, the experiment which was very successful, and there was a substantial gain with respect to the agriculture practices. Okay, so this particular project also went well. Then we had satellite instruction television experiment. The side question comes somewhat out for you people, which started in the year 1975. So this was also one of the largest techno-social experiment again, which was done with respect to, primary school going children's, wherein the number of villages were majority in number, that is 2,330 villages from the 6 states were selected. And this was commenced on 1975 with the help of 6 states, that is Rajasthan, Karnataka, Orissa, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. So the main objective here was, processing of existing rural communication, and the role of television played an important as a medium of education. And definitely this type of initiative really brought, importance of education in rural areas to a lot. So site is basically, promoted that rural education. Then not only this, it also had, educational programs with respect to agriculture and the related subjects like health, family planning, social education. The school programs of 22 and a half minutes, that is 22 and a half minute duration, were telecasted in Hindi and Hindi, Kannada, Oriya, Telugu language for, on the school days for rural primary children, that is from the age group of 5 to 12 years. So site experiment should site should be that was a new technology experiment, which again made, again created a good impact outcome in the rural education. Next was post site project, that is the after effect, like which was in the year 1977. Basically this was done with the villagers of Rajasthan, okay, which was initiated in 1977 with an objective that to familiarize the rural to familiarize the rural improved and scientific knowledge about farming with respect to the fertilizers and maintenance, okay, and bringing out national and emotional integration, and to make the rural children aware the importance of education and healthy environment. So this also played an important role. Then came INSAT, that is in the year 1982, which was with an aim of making rural masses aware of the latest development with respect to the productivity, health, and hygiene. So it was basically, again, the target group was the villagers and the school going children. As a part of INSAT education, the inauguration was done with respect to the transmission, that is from Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. So see, this particular points were not that important, but yes, we are reading it. So let's quickly have in revision for that. The stations were, the stations bills were Bihar, with the state of namely Bihar, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, which covered INSAT service using INSAT IB. Okay, in each state there were cluster of 3 to 4 districts which were selected on the basis of backwardness. So these points that are not important, but you just remember the main initiative of INSAT, that was, with respect to agriculture, productivity, health, and hygiene. The next was UGC Higher Television Project, that is HETV, that is television project, higher education television. So the university students were the beneficiaries out of this project. Especially, it started with the educational television project, popularly known as Countrywide Classroom, which started in the year 1984 with an aim to, enrich the quality of education. The program was for 1 hour in English on a variety of the subjects for undergraduates, educated as well as the teachers, educated people as well as teachers. The Inter-University Consortium for Education Commission, along with a chain of 20 audio-visual mass communication, that is inter-university, basically the focus is research center, which was set at UGC to ascertain the quality of programming for this particular projects. IGNOU, now we have done about IGNOU, that is with respect to Gyan Darshan, Gyanvani, and Gyandhara. So it was basically designed for distance learner, that is it is talking about Doordarshan, that is the initiative by the IGNOU. So they telecasted the programs on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6:30 to 7. Through the national network of Doordarshan, specifically, to telecounsel the students of open universities in the remote area. So this was the specification. Okay, then came Gyan Darshan, that is a television channel which was launched on 26th of Jan 2000. So basically, it was, the IGNOU was a nodal agency. It is a 2-hour daily transmission channel for the students. The duration, was increased to 9 hours a day. The response was, definitely, as I said, it was launched with an educational television channel. So the response was very good. Okay, and the transmission now from 2 hours, the transmission of 12 hours for the curriculum based and enrichment of programs was lined up. Okay, so this was basically about the television programs which were there in India. Now there are different models, but a very frequent questions in your examination is with basic to this transactional model as well as the interactive model. Students had a lot of doubt, so I've just taken up this point. So let's see what is this transactional model. So the transactional model of communication is the one which describes communication as a process transaction. So give and take. So as in process which generates social realities with social uh, relation and the context, cultural context. The examples of transactional model can be a face-to-face meeting, a telephone call, a Skype call, a chat session, or it can be in the form of an interactive training in order to share ideas and comments. It is transaction model is also called as the circular model. Okay, so transaction, just keep in mind, it is a give and take relationship between in the communication. When I'm talking about interactive model, it is basically within generation of exchange of ideas, messages, information, physically or within physical and psychological context. The communication process can take place either between human beings or the machines. So social media, interactive marketing, ATMs, online shopping, chat rooms are the examples of interactive model.